Before we get to the Auburn side of the equation, I do want to talk about Garrett Dellinger and what it means. And I kind of want to talk about a more general question here, Jake, a base question, which is this LSU offensive line good? Like, if we were to rank them at the end of the season, would they be a top 5 O-line in the SEC? It's a big ask, right? Because you have 2 freshmen starting tackles. You have a new starting center. It's an O-line that looked really bad against that very good Florida State defensive line. But no, like they got embarrassed on that night. Now, it's not the same guys. I guess the reason why I asked this question, Jake, is because I have kind of fallen head over heels for this O-line the past 2 games. Remember, even after Southern, I was not very bullish on this group.
Yeah, you're probably the other way.
Yeah, I was.
Southern.
Yes, I thought they were still very bad. But what I saw out of the tackles against Mississippi State, what I saw against New Mexico dealing with all of the movement and everything else that they had going on, it has made me a bit of a believer in this line. But I'm wondering, am I being a bit of a slave to the moment here? Like, how impressive are the performances against State and New Mexico? And is this a legitimately good O-line, or is it just a group that put together a couple of good games?
It's a fair question to ask because it's been up and down, but the good part about this up and down is the up has been consistent. Like the down to start the season, and you've continued to get better, so it hasn't been back and forth.
It's fair.
And so you haven't really had anything to go off of to say that it can't continue to get better. And, I mean, we could sit here and we could throw up Noah Cain's touchdown run against New Mexico, and it was a great effort by Noah Cain. But, like, even watching, like, Will Campbell just absolutely collapse down the line and give a running back space like that as a true freshman, it's just remarkable. And you take a little bit of a hit. I mean, Dellinger's been one of the highest graded players on the offensive line in the entire conference. So missing him this game against I think a good defensive line.
Well, they're best. I mean, I when I was watching, Jake, I didn't think anybody was particular. I thought number 25, the interior guy, is their best pass rusher, or their best D lineman. So you losing your best interior lineman is not ideal when their best guy's also in the interior.
It's Hall and Wooden. They're really good players. They're Sunday players, no question about it. So it's going to be, okay, who can step up? We assume Anthony Bradford obviously goes to one of the positions. Do you try to keep him consistent there at right guard and you move Frazier to left guard? I mean, you have bodies that have already had starts in the SEC, so that is a positive for you. But, look, you're going to miss Dellinger. There's no way we can come on here and say, oh, it's not going to be that big a deal. He's maybe been the most consistent offensive lineman, so it will be a big deal, but you need somebody to step up who's already had to start games in the SEC.
I do. I think this. I think that you are you have lost, as Jake said, your best lineman, which obviously you are worse because of it. I also think, though, Jake, that you're probably best positioned to lose a guard because of the depth that you just talked about. So it's a bad, but not as bad as it could be situation.
Yeah, tackle would be a
worse.
problem.
That would be way worse.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially with how weak right tackle looked before the emergence of Emory Jones. I also believe that when you look at this Auburn team and the death spiral that they are currently in, that losing Dellinger is no excuse to suddenly feel like LSU is not going to win this game. This is not like, as we'll talk about later, like Joey Bosa going on IR or something, which is literal wins and losses. This is not losing your quarterback. It sucks. It makes you worse, but not bad enough to where you should not go into Jordan-Hare and win. And I mean, look, they're down a quarterback, right? Like it is what it is. I'm more interested long-term on Dellinger because he had surgery, right? And the plan is for him to come back relatively soon and be playing with a club. Playing with the club's very hard as an offensive lineman. I think it's a bit easier as a D lineman. And you know, I know I've talked to a couple people about that, and the joke's been like, oh, well, you can't hold. I think ironically, it would lead to more holding.
With your offhand,
Yeah, because instead of being able to keep your hands inside and grab like you're supposed to, maybe because you can't grab, you end up wrapping a little bit. So this is something that Garrett Dellinger is not probably going to feel right again for the rest of the season. Like he's just, it sucks. It is what it is. It's football. This is something that he's going to have to deal with and try to overcome the rest of the year. But that question of, is this a good offensive line, I am fascinated by. And if they are, they should handle an Auburn defensive line. I'm not terribly impressed, especially not with the ends. The interior guys, again, I thought looked pretty solid. Well, one of the ends, I'll get their names, but
no, I mean, I know you're talking about.
If LSU is going to be a good offensive line, they need to win this battle.
I mean, Derek Hall is a player that's done it for a long time in the SEC. He's one of the ends. I'm sure that's probably who you're talking about. Colby Wooden is somebody that's done it at a high level. I mean, Marcus Harris has been okay in the middle. So they've got some capable bodies for sure up front. I mean, I think they got.
Yeah, see, I didn't think. Yeah, Marcus Harris did not. To me, he looked like a weak link on that on that line for sure.
I mean,
Colby Wooden is the guy that
he played okay against
Mizzou.
Penn State, but you're right. I mean, Marcus Harris did play bad against Missouri. I mean, Colby Wooden is definitely the guy interior wise.
Yes.
Now, Derek Hall is somebody that can flash, but it's not a consistent flash, and so you can't allow him to get that confidence going, because he's one of those pass rushers that once he gets it going and he feels like he has an advantage, he can take full advantage of that advantage. So they've got able bodies up there up front. It's definitely, I would say, probably their strongest position group on the entire team. I would say is maybe, and that's not even saying like, oh, they're top tier. But I'm just, when you look around the groups. Maybe running back.
Good on that roster.
That's kind of what I'm hinting at here. So it's a group that's played a lot of football in the SEC and has had some success.
And look, granted, they only give up 14 last week, right? But I do think that between Jane Daniels, all the weapons, this offensive line figuring out, this LSU offense should be able to find consistent success. Coming up next, I want to speak on Auburn a bit and what this game means for them. We mentioned a death spiral. Jake just talked about not allowing, who was it, to gain confidence? Because you could expand that to
Derek
the entire no, it wasn't Hall, it was the other one. Or maybe it was Hall. It doesn't matter. The point is, you could expand that to the entire Auburn team.